before that, I would like to introduce Dr. S.N. Modi sir. I mean, thank you, Dr. Modi sir. I'm on such a short notice. You have accepted my request of for this CME. So Dr. Modi is a very senior pediatrician. I think the 4 decades since 1981, he is a consultant pediatrician in the Mysore. He is a founder trustee of Asha Kirna Charitable Trust and Hospital Mysore. And you won't believe, I have been there. So it is a wonderful trust and they are doing a wonderful work there. So they are taking care of so many of HIV positive children and many, I mean, even the adults. So it's a total charitable, free medicine. So a lot of things they are doing it. So I mean, it's a commendable work they are doing. He is a honorable pediatric consultant by RG Care. He is a faculty to the JSS University, Mysore. He is the governing council member of State Society of India. He has more than 40 publications, international and national journal, and he is a totally dedicated, very noble, and like I don't have the words for sir. He is such a humble person. It's amazing. He's an amazing person. So, sir, I welcome you. I welcome Madam also, Madam Nalini. She was really being a very good host when we visited Mysore. Dr. Amrita also associated with them. So, I welcome all our guests. Sir, before I request you to speak, I just want some introduction about the topic. This is the LGBTQ. What does it mean? LGBTQ is the terminology. This is the key population, very neglected population, but they exist. They do exist, and they think like what I have seen. ये जीवन है, इस जीवन का कुछ ना कुछ तो रंग रूप है. Whatever they are, they have their own life. So I'm just sharing the few experience of mine personally. When I met first time I came to know, before I entered into the HIV field, I was also not knowing this terminology. And it was a thing which was not very good, and people look at if you think the transgender hijras, people look in a different way. And I was also used to scare कि ये हिजड़ा है, इनसे बात नहीं करनी है, इनके पास ही जाना है. So we have seen them only occasionally. घर में कोई शादी या उस तरह का होता था. So my first interaction with the lesbian, that was in my home only. My maid, उसकी daughter, her daughter, 17-year-old. She was always used to come in the pant shirt, love cycling, and don't want to do the work as maid. So always her mother used to tell कि नहीं तुम्हें ये काम करना है, सब्जी काटो, बर्तन धो. तो but she never liked. And so once she was working since long. I mean, she was used to start coming with her mother. So once her Masi's daughter was with her. So they both of sit together, sabji kaat rahe hain, and they were just doing this kind of the work. And suddenly, both of them vanished. And I asked ki kya hua, and maid also didn't came. So I asked when she came, so she told ki bhabhi kya बताऊं, ये दोनों जो हैं लड़कियां पता नहीं आपस में क्या करती रहती हैं. And I caught her, और ये मेरी लड़की को काट दिया है, और ये बीमार हो गई है, इसको कुछ मेंटल बीमारी है, और इसको फिजिकल बीमारी है, और दोनों को बहुत पीटा, brutally. They were brutally beaten by the brother and the mother and the father. So, and they sent this daughter of Mausi's daughter back. But my maid's daughter also ran away. और वो भी वहां पर चली गई, वहां पर फिर उसको पीटा गया. Forcefully उसकी शादी भी कर दी गई. मतलब this is I am telling the story of 4-5 years. Forcefully उसको दोनों को अलग कर दिया गया जबरदस्ती, और बहुत दिनों तक वो लेकर घूमती रही कि मुल्लाओं के पास, मौलवी के पास, और इस यहाँ जा रही हूँ मैं, वहां जा रही हूँ. She was Muslim. So but nothing happened. They after that even she get married. जबरदस्ती उस लड़की की शादी कर दी है, but still after the marriage, after having one child, she ran away. She is working in a factory and living with that girl only. So this is the story of one lesbian, which I came to know. I mean, not everybody can just experience this, but this is the story, the real-time story, and happened in my nearby surrounding. First time I met this transgender hijra in the hospital, in Pushpanjali Crossley Hospital. She came with the hepatitis B. We tested, she came out to be positive. And again, I mean, I was not knowing that the hijras can be so humble. She was so humble. She was always come with namaste and all these things. And I was scared first time. Every staff was scared. But she came with such a humble this thing, Madam, mujhe bacha lo. And I have definitely there was a history of the sexual contact. But she was very much this thing ki mujhe bacha lo, main jeena chahti hu. So we have started the treatment for HIV, hepatitis B. But definitely after 2 years, she passed away with the cirrhosis of the liver. Basically because we don't get that much of the attention in the hospitals as well as in the healthcare. So that was my interaction with this Hijra community. So, but they are definitely different. What we have been taught about them. Gay population is something like I just a very interesting story in very short. One gay guy again admitted a young 18-year-old, 18 or 20-year-old guy admitted from the Pune. He was pursuing his some education in the Pune. He came बड़ी सारी problems के साथ कि ये हुआ. We find out कि he is HIV positive. We started treatment HIV, but gradually I came to know. He told me the history after a long time. कि when he was 8-year-old, his cousin brother has abused him. And he has continued to abuse him for the 5 years till he went after the 12th to the university. And he continuously abused him. He could not tell to anyone. He was doing the anal sex. So he told, I don't know when initially I was not knowing what is this, but somehow I started enjoying this sex, this kind of the behavior and this kind of the like sexual behavior. And when in the college, again he has indulged into this man-to-man having sex. So these are the like things. So we cannot see them. We cannot weigh them in a one-way scale. They have a very much a lot of different kind of the problems in the life, and it's not easy with them. Same is the commercial sex worker. You see, we don't see them with a dignity, but that is their profession. And I remember once when I started HIV, Dr. Moti will agree, even when the NACO has came into it, a lot of things they have told that commercial sex workers are the ones who are spreading the HIV. And they think of कि like हम कैसे इनको सबको बंद करें, ये profession बंद हो जाए. So there was a huge discussion, and this was told by the many of the senior people कि like we cannot close this, we cannot stop. If we will stop these commercial sex workers, so you cannot needs of the how many people they are fulfilling. If this is not, you will find the everywhere in the every house the rapes and all kind of the things. So sexual abuse in the families also. So these are the community which may I think we should now start talking, and we should see them with the dignity. And healthcare is a right, so they also should get the proper like any other population. So Moti sir, with this introduction, I think I will hand over the mic to you. And we will be happy to listen to you about all the LGBTQ. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I'm sharing the screen. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank Dr. Ruby Bansal for getting me amidst you all, the Delhi Dining Forum. I was told you've been very active in spite of challenging COVID times to be together. And what a way to begin. I think you all have some freak out time to let yourself vent out, sing, share, and of course, remain closely knit and closely put together. At the very outset, I must thank Dr. Sharda Jain, Dr. Mrs. Abasu, Dr. Divya Singhal, Dr. Archana Pathak, and Dr. Meena, who was so beautifully anchoring the entire program, and seniors like Dr. Lakshmi Devi, who are there trying to get these kind of meetings on an ongoing basis. And I must thank Dr. Amrita Suraj from Mysore, who was able to chip in on my behalf by virtue of her beautiful singing. And getting an opportunity to sing after her was quite a paradoxical challenge. I thought I wouldn't dare do that. Okay. Okay. I think that Ruby very rightfully shared some of the experiences. I think one thing common between we in Asha Kirana in Mysore and Dr. Ruby, we all evolving to learn with each challenging case that we come across, how we need to really address these challenges, how we need to reach out these hard to access populations. I think that's exactly what we have been able to do. 1 second, I'll just. Is my presentation visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Now, what I'll do in the next 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes is, this is more a curtain raiser presentation to provide an overview of the basic facts of LGBT. What should be the role of a clinician as an OB/GYN or a pediatrician or an HIV physician, and also to give a wake-up call to a responsible citizenry in each one of us, and try to make an appeal to academies to respond to this social need and how this needs to be really addressed in course of time. I bring warm greeting from this Asha Kirana Hospital. Is a 30-bedded facility which is built with community participation, and I've been working since over 2.5 decades learning in this temple where we have been doing work related to HIV/AIDS, and recently we also upgraded this facility to provide COVID care, and we were able to provide mild to moderate cases care. And just this week we launched HIV vaccine initiative in the private sector. Our hospital also was empaneled, and what was very special, Dr. Ruby, I thought I must tell you, we were looking for a sponsor who could provide support for about 1,000 HIV positive patients to be vaccinated, and we found a sponsor who came forward big way. He's sponsored the entire vaccination drive from Asha Kirana to all the public who can walk in will get the free vaccination. Ours is the only private hospital which is providing HIV vaccine free, though the government has given a cap of ₹250 per patient. Okay, this is my presentation overview, definition and terminologies. So let's also peep into the history, legends and mythology, what we can derive out of this. Have we over a period of time gone back in our learning, and what's the role of a clinician, and what's the way forward that we can really put our minds on to. A general overview definition of an LGBTQ is an individual who lives outside the gender of rearing or gender of expectations, which encompasses whatever be either lesbian, gay, bisexual. This is what it is. And there are various terminologies, like you say, trans girl, trans woman, trans man or trans guy, lesbians, gay, bisexual. And we have some terminologies like hijra, eunuch, tranny, chaka. All these are terminologies which are regarded as very abusive and not to be used amongst the civilized population. Let's explain what this lesbian means in homosexual women. Gay can be used on a more general term. It could be a homosexual women or men or just gay men. Bisexual are both heterosexual and homosexual, like what Dr. Ruby was referring to a case. Some of them get married and continue to harbor their bisexual leanings. Transgender is where the gender identity is different from what is assigned at birth. Queer meaning gender and sexual identities are not straight or clear. Intersex is what we learned in our postgraduate days, undergraduate days of ambiguous genitalia. Asexual means they are physically or emotionally attracted to either men or women. They could have a rapport relationship. They could have a friend and a soulmate, but they have minimal or no sexual attraction. And suppose any of them wouldn't fall into any of this, probably you put them into others which are not described above. This is how it started. Now, evolution of phrasing also has a historical perspective. In 1970s, we call them homosexuals. Later in 1980s, we started calling them, based on the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, edition 3, we started calling this as gender identity disorder. Over a period of time, they found this terminology disorder is a very negative phrasing. So we started calling them gender dysphoria. Now, very recently, they said LGBT also is a little offensive terminologies. People tend to get spotted and noted by that. Now they call sexual and gender minorities, SGM. And we have various terminologies like gender non-conformity, gender discordance, gender variance, and all that. I think we needn't worry about. So, gender and sex, physical appearance of external genitalia does not always determine the sexual orientation. It's always an overlap. Gender identity is something which is given by the parents, relatives, soon after the baby is born. Or biological sex is either you call male, female, or if the ambiguous genitalia is there, you call intersex. Sexual orientation is something which evolves over a period of time. They may have leanings, homosexual leanings, heterosexual, bisexual, or they may remain asexual. So sex is not just one word, one phrase terminology. There are four aspects of biological status as male or female. You call by virtue of chromosomes, XY or XX, based on gonads, whether it is testes and ovaries, based on the hormones, androgens versus estrogens and progesterone, based on the external genital sex organs, penis and scrotal sacs, versus clitoris and vagina. There is fifth dimension, what we call as brain sex, meaning it is not what is between two legs which determines the sexual orientation, it is what is between two ears, what's the thinking, what is the perception based on which they tend to develop gender orientation and identity. Let's look at the historical perspectives. If you look into the books of history, psychiatrists and psychologists attempted various forms of cure post-war Second World era, like psychotherapy, hormone treatment, electric shock, many of them very cruelly castrated, and many soldiers were dishonorably discharged, disgraced, ostracized, humiliated, and many of them were stripped of their rankings. Many of them were not given the due awards that they deserved because of identity as LGBT group. And many accepted the stigma as inevitable until 28 June 1969, Stonewall Rebellion, which set up the beginning of change. You must Google Stonewall Rebellion. You will get to have a lot of visual pictures which will give you such insightful information about what went wrong post-World War periods. Transgender, until regarded being transgender as a form of mental illness. Indian Psychiatric Society, over a period of time in 2014, said there is no evidence to substantiate the belief that homosexuality is a mental illness. Further, in 2018, they went on to state certain people are not cut out to be heterosexual. We need not have to punish them, castigate them, or ostracize them. And the historical period was the Supreme Court verdict in September 2018, where they decriminalized homosexuality, declaring Section 377 as unconstitutional. How over a period of time this has come? We were basically, Indians were a trans-inclusive society. Look at the legends, Ardhanarishwara, the dual form of Ishvara, where half woman and half man, form of Ishvara, we continue to worship them. And Lord Rama granted transgenders a special status during rituals and festivals. There's a 1 minute story about when Rama was assigned to go to forest to fulfill the vow of his father. The entire citizenry followed him until the entry of the forest. Before he entered the forest, he looked back and he said, "My dear men and women, you have so much of responsibility to carry on in Ayodhya. Until I come back, please continue to do this without any compromises of values." 14 years later, when he came back, you were surprised to see a small group of people were still there hanging on. Then he asked, why you people didn't go back? You said this. Then they said, Lord Rama, you address men and women, but you never addressed us. So we thought we are not being advised to go back. And they were transgenders. He was so touched and moved, and he said, from years and centuries from now, you will have a designated responsibility in the rituals and festivals in the various societal forms. That is how they have got a lot of opportunities and openings whenever you have some naming ceremonies, marriages, they do appear, considering that they have got a designated role. And we know the characters of Brihannale, Shikandi in Mahabharata. Khajuraho temple depicts so many homosexual images. And even in Kama Sutra, there is a mentioning about third sex, or what you call as Tritiya Prakriti. This is the form of Ardhanarishwara, who is still continuing to be worshipped. And Mohini Avatar, I think you all might be aware, is Mohini is a trans manifestation of Vishnu, Vishnu's avatar. Mohini Avatar was created to destroy the demon Bhasmasura. Mohini was so beautiful, the legend states that Shiva got enormously attracted to Mohini, and he gets into a carnal relationship with Mohini. And during the act of their sexual relationship, Mohini again transforms back to Vishnu, but still the act continues. And the legend is Lord Ayyappa was born out of this Mohini avatar. And look at what's happening. Millions of us worship Lord Ayyappa. And we still have so many examples in our historical details. Brihannale, Shikandi, no, lesbians and Khajuraho temple. Now what I wanted to emphasize, if there is space in places of worship, why we are not accepting them in our household and in the neighborhood? Why have we become so judgmental? It is for us to give a serious thought on those lines. Let us see what we have the role of a clinician. Let me pull out a story from my practice. Ram, 19-year-old, academically bright, pursuing a university degree. He runs away from home, parents, and police efforts track him down in Pune. Ram lived with few others and was trading cases for his pleasure and livelihood. He went out of his own choice. Back home, there was non-acceptance from family, except Ram's mother. Ram tested HIV positive and he was brought to Asha Kirana. When the mother said, my son Ram is okay, he's HIV positive, but I'm not willing to accept. Ram is gay. And she said, it is dirty. After years of hardship of counseling and follow-up, Ram completed his PhD. Now he is a faculty in a science college in a neighboring university. This is the kind of challenges that they face and how much of darkness that they faced during those formative years. We need to really remain open-minded. How do the LGBT present early? They may, as early as early childhood, they may have deviant preferences of toys, clothing. They may prefer cross-dressing. Their preferences to peer group may be different. They have deviant sexual attractions and leanings. They may even remain isolated and withdrawal because they're not being able to share their status truly with anybody. They may be facing bullying from the peer group, and they may have features of mental health issues like depression, ADHD, and even suicidal ideation. And they may have high-risk behaviors. They may be indulgent into drugs, sex, self-harm, and they may also contract STI and even HIV/AIDS. Now, this term gender dysphoria for a teenager to be picked up. So they're beautiful mentioning about 6 or 7 points, how this incongruence between the felt gender and the reared form of gender, how it is different from one aspect to the other. Suppose any of 2 of these following points are there, then they need to be considered. Probably they're into the LGBT group. That's for children. I think I'll skip that. Now, what are the health outcomes or health concerns in LGBT, even in the adolescent years or during the youth? They have increased tendency for mental health disorders, suicidal tendencies, high-risk behaviors, and they may contract STI and HIV/AIDS. And majority of the time, they delay healthcare seeking because they fear that they will get stigmatized even in healthcare settings. And many of them delay seeking healthcare because many of them do not have healthcare coverage in the insurance. This is what is called as another kind of minority stress created by marginalization, isolation, and victimization within the society. I think these are some of the things which we need to seriously dwell on. And when I was looking into the role of OB/GYN, and a lot of statistical, very fascinating details are there. More bisexual women develop chronic pelvic pain, cervical cancer than heterosexual women. And lesbians are found to have higher levels of testosterone, obesity, and substance abuse, consequent to which they have increased risk of PCOD also. And I was just telling, LGBTQ represents 4.5% of US adult population, but India portrays it to be still just about 2.5 million as the total numbers. We need to see, are they the real numbers, or are we covering up or closing them behind the social closet? And concerns mentioned in a Journal of Women's Health that doctors receive very little training on LGBTQ healthcare, and many OB/GYNs also lack critical knowledge, caring for them, how to really go forward. Keeping this in mind, the contemporary OB/GYN comes out with 3 principles and 4 doors concept as to how to get across. These people are different from cisgender, different in the sense the mental makeup, the way they perceive the societal environment, the family environment, they perceive it differently. That is their mental component, the mental fabric is different from other people. But there are some commonalities with the straight or cisgender means those who are not LGBTQ are called cisgender. And there are biological factors, anatomical factors, maybe just like the other cisgender people. But we need to also keep in mind that every LGBT is not the same. Each one is different from the other. Someone who is bisexual is different. Someone who is trans person, trans woman. So we need to always keep in mind they are not a homogeneous type of population. So the figure 2, the 4 doors of creating an SGM friendly practice, what you need to do to get people into your doors. So you need to become an LGBT friendly or LGBT kindly OB/GYN so that this population will get to identify and seek your help. What happens when they come into the clinic in the waiting lounge? We need to train our front office staff how to really approach and how to talk to them, how to document their details, their status. This is exactly what happens when they get inside the door. And what happens behind closed doors, meaning this LGBT person comes inside your clinic chamber, what happens there and how you interact, how you connect to understand what issues and challenges, physical, mental, they're facing. That is exactly what paves way for future learning. And door 4, what happens between doors, meaning suppose you send them for a referral to a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist, or suppose you refer them to a urologist to see what else needs to be done. Then you need to actually have some kind of a sharing of information between consultants, between the network of your consultants before you refer them, so that they need not be exposed for any kind of traumatic experiences when they go visit the other clinic, because the other doctor may not be as kindly as you probably are trying to be. That's what we need to keep in mind. And LGBT people, especially the young ones, have a lot of health priorities. They are 8 times more likely to commit suicide. They are 6 times likely to develop different levels of depression, 3 times as likely to use illegal substance abuse, more than 3 times likely to contract HIV/AIDS. So this indicates this is a highly vulnerable population. They live extremely sensitive, self-conscious mental situation, who simply need some hand holding and understanding, whereby this can be definitely addressed. What are the general myths and misconceptions? Like what Ruby was telling, the maid was feeling that her lesbian daughter is probably could be treatable. And many people consider, suppose you leave your son or daughter with a LGBT group, gay group, they may also get similar leanings. Certainly not. And many people still believe it can be done with medicines. I think Baba Ramdev said he can cure with some of the herbal medicines. So superfluous. And they don't become LGBT by choice. It is their deep inside rooted desire that they resort to this kind of a life. And marriage will solve a problem? Certainly not. We come across to hear so many gay people who get forcibly married, later they get into a lot of difficulty in the marital relationship and get discarded. And many people feel they cannot pursue academics, art and sports. I told you, our own Ram, he was able to pursue his PhD in zoology, who is a faculty. And all transgenders are alike is a misconception. They are not alike. I told you, each one is different from the other. We need to keep open-minded and try to understand. What parents can do at earliest, come to terms and accept and look your child as they are. Do not try to impose, do not punish them. Ram was facing a lot of punishment. That's why he ran away from home. And stand up for your child and be supportive. Suppose someone is bullying in the school, don't try to demean your child and disapprove exploitation. And look out for any red flag signs of depression, substance abuse, and try to seek help. And there are a lot of support groups you can access in the media. Try and come across similar families who are rearing similar offspring, so that you will definitely find some kind of hand-holding situations. And what the clinicians, how we should be approaching is, clinicians should elicit details very discreetly. Don't try to be very enthusiastic, asking them to disrobe and then try to be curious to see what's there. Initial one interview could only be to connect the other physical illness and try to build a rapport, so that over a period of time you can take liberties of doing the detailed examination. Social history, this head screening is there in adolescent medicine also, and they may not be forthcoming for detailed examination. You need to build rapport with them. And adolescent period, by which time their sexual orientation will have been well established, will be further complicated because of adolescent issues confounding the whole situation. And you need to set up multiple appointments, and disclosure to the family also should be very discreetly handled. And you create a network of psychiatrists, surgeons, endocrinologists and urologists, and try to arrive consensus how to move forward. Therapeutic approach. Suppose you recognize an adolescent who's got LGBT leanings, you can even make use of these puberty blockers. Lupron injections, very expensive, cost about 20,000-25,000 depot injection, which might help deferring puberty, whereby you will have sufficient time to establish rapport with these adolescents and try to understand what the family chemistry dynamics are, so that you can take the treatment approach more rationally in course of time. Suppose you come across these in the adolescent years, suppose they already are into the mainstream LGBT lives, then you need to look them up in whatever they are, and what kind of treatment for sex reassignment can be thought of. You need to consider cross-sex hormone therapy. For male to female, you give estrogen therapy. For female to male, you need to give testosterone. And sex reassignment surgery should be considered after 18 years of age and after having used hormone therapy for at least 1 year. We need to also educate them the importance of hormone therapy, prolonged periods of time, what are the various adverse drug reactions that they need to keep in mind, All these need to be done. And even dosages also, how they need to be titrated. There's a lot of information available on the nets. And what kind of sex reassignment surgeries can be done? Surgical procedures to alter the physical appearance of their preference. Feminization surgeries are like vaginoplasty, breast augmentation, orchidectomy, or voice feminization surgeries. Masculinization surgeries could be phalloplasty, scrotoplasty, hysterectomy, metoidoplasty. Now, all these are very challenging. They're not usually performed procedures, but we can always take help of urologists and someone who is an expert in this area and try to figure out, and we can always find out and see whether we can really provide them the necessary help. And having given this kind of a background information, now what could be our way forward? I'll just take the next few minutes quickly to, I thought I'll share one more story. This story appeared to me just about a month ago, few days after I did a program for Indian Academy of Pediatrics, Bangalore, or Karnataka State chapter. I came to know about this story. I stepped into their lives. Shiv, a bright youngster, topper in school and college, he takes up medical profession and pediatrics. He is now a faculty in a major hospital. He disclosed to a close friend of many years, stating, I am a gay. This liberal thinking friend said, it's okay, but Shiv, why didn't you share for so long? Shiv replied, Supriya had fear of losing you. Shiv continues to harbor anxiety and fear of non-acceptance in the society. You can imagine how much of mental agony Shiv must have had before sharing this information with his soulmate, with his friend. And I must tell you, this friend of mine, this friend of Shiv is my daughter-in-law who lives in Boston doing her pediatric residency. Now, there are no official data. In 2012, Supreme Court was given the data that there were 2.5 million gay people recorded in India. It is likely to be highly unrealistic because we have 4.1% of US population, over 6% of population in Germany, about 5.5% of population in Australia who are LGBT. So probably large number of people remain in the family or social closet. So we need to see how we can really create a social and a societal environment which will pronounce acceptance to this population. 17th May happens to be an International Day of Homophobia. And how should we really approach them? We should be being respectful. If you are unsure of one's identity, try to avoid pronouns, either he or she. If necessary, refer to them as they present or politely ask, how would you like to be addressed? It's okay to make a mistake, but let's correct ourselves and see we do it appropriately subsequent. But let's not use offensive terms. What are the etiquette tips that we need to be observing? Be mindful of trans people in public places. Don't show undue curiosity. Remember, being transgender is not a choice. Treat trans people with courtesy and respect you would like to be treated with. Be sensitive that most transgender medical needs are not covered by insurance. And stop using transphobic remarks or jokes. And it's so unfortunate we have so many of our television shows where cross-dressed characters are used only for a mockery. I must appeal to you, please watch a 1-hour documentary titled Disclosure in Netflix, which portrays brilliant information, how the people's perception in the entire US about LGBTQ is drawn from the Hollywood movies which have been made for last several decades. It really is a very heart-rending narrative. I'm very sure you'll find a lot of meaningful messages for all of us to learn from. And we need to have gender-sensitive restrooms, waiting rooms, ID cards, hostels and hospitals, and what acronym we fix. In spite of all this, many still maintain nature made a mistake creating transgenders. If so, I take head on asking if nature made a greater mistake creating human race, which has drawn lines all over based on color, religion, caste, creed, and whatnot. And we had an encounter with one trans woman who was outside a temple, and the things have great deal changed. India conducted a trans pageant beauty contest. Now, the election commission also has given them an identity. India elects the first transgender mayor for Raigad, and Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi is celebrity transgender. You can really Google and try to walk into her life's journey. A brilliant orator. At some point of time, you must really get her to speak to any of the open-minded groups like your OBYN. I think she really gives wonderful messages. And I must tell you, this is Angelina Jolie. Recently, during the COVID time, she pronounced that Sheila, who was being reared as a girl, has turned out as identified as an LGBT, and now Sheila has become an LGBTQ icon for all over the world. Now, what's important is people in this kind of celebrity status should come out in the open and pronounce their preferences. Then probably there will be a societal perception changing for a better society in time to come. Hollywood's golden age era, you can spot out so many of them. Could you believe Marilyn Monroe had a lesbian relationship with Elizabeth Taylor? The heartthrob of so many, heartthrob of those the earlier decades, many of the seniors would be able to connect. There are so many of those Hollywood stars who have pronounced their LGBT status. Why I put this slide was, when they pronounce and admit, probably the others will also wake up. We know very well how Deepika Padukone admitted, in spite of being a successful actress, she had mental depression, had to be treated. I think she became an ambassador for mental health morbidities to be accepted, to be managed in a more open society. A lot of students doing this kind of a thing. And we last year started LGBTQ clinic in Asha Kirana. Saturday afternoons, we have specifically identified so that they can come back and we can, myself, that Swami can connect with their problems, try to understand and how we can really address. Because I am also in the process of learning. I've only shared all these challenges so that I can also be on the same page like Dr. Ruby and all of you seniors. Everyone harbors a desire to love and to be loved, to be a friend and a soulmate, to care and to be compassionate. Please remember the words love, friend, soulmate, care and compassion are gender neutral. उसमें कोई पुरुष या स्त्री नहीं होते. I do not plead sympathy. Let us recreate a trans-inclusive society in India, ensuring LGBT rights with honor, self-respect and dignity. It is not about tolerance. It has to be a uncompromised and undebated acceptance. We must give them acceptance. Towards that, we must keep our doors open so that we will work towards creating a trans-inclusive society. And New Age India 2021, we conferred Padma Shri to Manjama Jogati, who is a transgender folk artist, and Nartaki Natraj in 2019 received Padma Shri. I think the government's outlook also is changing. I think we need to also chip in and see meaningfully we also contribute. What will be the take-home simple message? Let us relook into our attitude and perception about LGBTQ. LGBTQ are not those whom we spot in the signals soliciting your favors and trying to beg for their livelihood. If we connect LGBTQ to only them, some of the real youngsters who are in our fellow professionals, who are in our neighborhood, remain in the social closet. Let's recognize and resurface the counselor in ourselves. How can we recognize the counselor in us? I always tell, no matter how senior the audience are, let's remember when we came to the clinical side as undergraduates, when we did the first history taking of a patient, we had all ears open. We wanted to connect, understand. That's exactly what a counselor needs to be. You need to be all ears open, willing to handhold. I'm very sure you need not have to take additional training to be a counselor. It's there potentially in all of us. And do not let go of a trans person in your practice. Once a trans person walks into your office, take time to learn, take time to understand, but do not disconnect. Hand-holding is very important. This is how we taught our doctors and counselors. Whenever someone came with HIV, important thing is continue the link. And let me end up saying the word beautiful is also gender neutral. And I must immensely thank you for having given me this opportunity to be amidst you.
Thank you, Dr. Moti. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. I think everyone must have liked this. And I will now request to our Chairperson, Dr. Sharda Jain ma'am, Dr. Divya Singhal, Dr. Archana Pathak, Dr. Abha Sood. So if to say few words, if any questions, any comments in their mind, so let's just discuss with Dr. Moti. He has an immense experience on like all these issues of HIV and these even LGBT. So hand over to the chairpersons, Dr. Sharda Jain ma'am.
Yes, sir, I'm mesmerized by your talk.
Thank you, Dr. Sharda ji.
I'm really mesmerized by your talk.
Yes.
Let me be very frank with you. I am a gynecologist and I know the inhibitions by the gynecologist. And now you could understand why we have 1 hour session to refresh ourselves and, to discuss this particular topic. Once the topics get started, 50% the gynecologists leave the meeting and go. So this is the inhibitions, but I'm sure slowly and slowly we keep talking about them. I'm sure today 50 people are listening, sometimes 100 people are listening. They will take time because, what I find in Western society, it is accepted now. They may be making 4% or 5% of that particular country's population, but they are respected. They accepted in the society. Nobody ridicules them for anything. They are our top professionals. They are there. So I think, it will take little time. And that this probably, you must be wondering, why these people, gynecologists, are getting crazy. They sing and then they hear this kind of topic. Because I know there is inhibition. And this inhibition has to go. At least I'm glad that, these particular meetings are attended by at least 100 gynecologists. We have a membership of 2,400 people. But if 100 are listening, that's okay with us. And very rightly said, all beautiful words are non-gender. And we have to have a total acceptance. I'm sure this is coming up in the society. When we get HIV people, we are not scared now. The days are gone, when we were scared. And in case if it is, they are still scared, I'm sure over a period of time, we should be able to take it over. And I also fully agree with you, in a big city like, in a big country like this, to say that 2.1 million people are only belong to this category is underestimation.
Correct.
But, we find that the government has changed, the views have changed. And, the Padma Shri, which has been awarded to these people, I think it is trying to get an acceptance to that. So I think with these kind of words, I think, I will again say, we'll have you more often with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sharda ji.
Sir, ask Dr. Swami to stop sharing the screen so we can just discuss it. Dr. Moti, sir?
Okay. Am I visible?
Yeah, you are not, sir, your screen is visible. Ask them to stop sharing.
Sir, you should stop
Thank you.
sharing your things. So at
Oh,
least the
shall
whole
stop presenting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
Dr.
Yes,
Devi Singhal.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And I just wanted to thank sir for this beautiful talk, so beautifully handled on a very sensitive issue and on an issue which we are not aware of at all. I would not hesitate to say so. I looked up my old gynae books and I could not even find a single chapter on this subject. So thank you so much for making us aware, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions. Like I do remember years back, I had gone to a hairdresser, a very famous hairdresser in one of our posh colonies, and the hairdresser started asking me who I was, and then he said, the person said he had some gynecological issues, and I found that very strange. So imagine, then I got to know that this person was a transgender, and I did not know how to handle whatever he said. So I'm sure I'll be much wiser now. And sir, could you please tell us more about how to examine such a patient and what exactly could be their problems?
yeah, I told you in my presentation also, because all trans persons are not similar. So it's a heterogeneous group. Okay, so that's why what's important is initially you build a rapport with the person and let them have the confidence that you are someone who's willing to handhold and try to understand what problems they have. Then afterwards they'll definitely be very forthcoming. They could have similar problems. If they have a well-developed testes, they could have problems related to testicular torsion. They could have some hernia-related problems. And if they have a well-developed uterus, all uterine-related problems could be there. And many of them won't even get pap smears done because for the fear of getting an entry into clinician's office. So you can imagine how many of them get denied of some of the basic gynecological evaluations. So, and each individual's anatomy also is likely to be a little different. So you can always plead your willingness to understand. That's why I was telling, what's most important is, I think even Dr. Ruby will understand, even the first cases of HIV when we started, in fact, we all are self-styled counselors. We never went into any MSW course or any clinical psychology course. We learned from the patients. Similarly, all I need to say, like Dr. Sharda Jain mentioned, so if you remain open-minded, I will definitely work with the next LGBTQ who will ask for my help. That begins your learning. You will definitely have a way forward, and I'm very sure you will definitely have something to share out of your own experiences, which will be so meaningful to your fellow OB/GYNs. Did I answer your question?
Very much, sir. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure and an honor to hear you.
Thank you.
Dr. Archana Pathak, are you with us? Dr. Abha Sood, are you with us, ma'am?
Dr. Ruby, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is Dr. Archana here.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, very informative talk by sir. I'm really, I think I've become more knowledgeable. We had a discussion regarding this. We were, trying to, when we got the information that this kind of a talk is going to happen, we were all discussing in our group regarding the various terminologies, LGQ, we were all discussing that we really have no inkling of all these, definitions, actually. So, really enlightened, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Archana. Okay.
Dr. Abha, are you there? Anybody has any question? So can raise the hand or
Sir, this is a new area. Let me be very frank with you.
yeah.
Very
Now,
good.
at least 100 odd gynecologists in the city of Delhi. feel very confident about it. When a patient will come, they will be able to guide her properly and probably able to handle her and even deliver her and follow her up. The cases whom I have delivered, I think they are long friends of mine. And whatever they have patients in the neighborhood and things like that. They know that I have not divulged any kind of a thing. So they bring over to me. So what I feel, this is a very new area for, all of us. And I think, you have already said, that nobody has taught you. The circumstances placed you in such a way that you learned on your own. And you are popular. Your talk had been absolutely great. And I'm sure with coming time, maybe in year 21, we hear you 2-3 more times. So that way our perspective will definitely be different. Paradigm shift we are going to bring. Then Dr. Ruby asked me that what should we do? I said, why don't you get somebody senior who is expert in these areas? So she said, people will not even know what is the term of this. I said, koi baat nahi, dheere dheere aayega. हम उनको फ्लैग बताएंगे, उनका रेनबो बताएंगे, सब बताएंगे, धीरे धीरे पता चलेगा. So at least 50 of them at least know there is something like this term is there. There is something like a flag is there. So much they have learned from your talk. Sir, if there are no questions, I say that's okay. Parnita, you want to ask anything? Parnita?
Anybody want to ask?
Parinita, you need to unmute. Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that I am already mesmerized with his talk, so it will take time to sink in and then ask questions.
Yeah. You all are most
I
welcome.
can sing a song.
Drop the questions.
Okay. Anyway, I think any questions are there, kindly, I think, forward them to Dr. Ruby and she can share them. And one thing what we have learned is, I think, you see, I'm actually practicing pediatrician since last 40 years. About 25 years, I began to learn about HIV/AIDS. The reason I did this was, I felt the society had given me recognition as a pediatrician. I thought there was something which I needed to pay back to the society.
Perfect.
That is how Asha Kirana started. And Asha Kirana is a 30-bed facility built with community participation. And we have a 7-member trustee. We have 40 team. Dr. Swami is sitting next to me. They're all working very hard. I must tell you, we just developed this concept and we were able to find some answer. In fact, recently, vaccination also, COVID vaccination, we wanted to find sponsors for our HIV patients. We found a sponsor who is willing to give about 2,000 doses of vaccinations. For the next 20 days, we have vaccinations which are free. Now, what I mean to say is, if you have the willingness, a simmering desire deep inside you, I'm very sure this flame will definitely start glowing and catch up and will have a effect to snowball. Like Dr. Sharda Jain said, it can snowball into a very meaningful change in the entire city of Delhi amongst your group. If that could be accomplished, I consider my efforts are really fulfilled.
Sir, I must tell you that when we started it 3-4 months back, 4 or 5 months back, this particular group,
Yes.
I was very sure that none of the gynecologists in 1 minute time could give an answer what are the HIV drugs being used. Now the picture is different. Now the picture is different.
Yes. True.
They may take little time, but they will not say that they did not know anything, they have not heard about it, or they are hesitant about delivering a patient. Previously, when a patient comes, you say, aap chale jao, Safdarjung Hospital chale jao, yahan chale jao, wahan chale jao.
Yes.
Now that is not there anymore. And I think if the 100 people are sensitized, it's okay.
Good
We're very happy.
Yes.
I don't expect many people to come. When Ruby asked me the question, should I call the gentleman? I say yes. High time they're sensitized,
Yes. Okay.
Ma'am, can I ask a question now?
Please.
Yes, Dr. Parinita.
No,
Ask me.
sir. I want to ask, suppose we diagnose about this, their sexual orientations before adolescence. So do we need to investigate for her hormone levels and all, and can we shift their inclination?
I think this is the kind of question I generally get when I go to pediatricians. Good that you asked. One thing is very true. Like what I said initially, once a family comes with their adolescent about whose sexual leanings or inclinations are not are deviant from the usual other peer group, then what's important is, again, build a rapport with them, continue to remain connected with them, and then most importantly, the parents will have lot of questions to ask and clarify. Is this something which we can really do away with? Because they somehow don't want this to be in their family. So it takes quite a while for you to get to understand. So repeated appointments, repeated counseling, I think allow the counselor in you to give words of reassurance. Then you tell them, okay, you want to do some tests, we will do. There's no hurry. You meet with another family who have got an LGBTQ offspring in their household. Try to connect with them. So allow them these kind of interactions. Obviously, positivity will come. For their reassurance sake, you want to do hormonal studies, take the help of an endocrinologist and a neurologist, you can definitely go ahead and do. And make them understand, hormonal studies do not show any deviations from that age group, the parity of that age group, adolescents. But it's only the orientation. And orientation is something which is not to be disregarded. When it is disregarded, they go into isolation.
This is
Good
not
question.
Many times the parents,
what my question is.
this child does not want to get married. I'm an elder. Many people ask me, Doctor, my son doesn't want to get married, or so only does not want to get married. I said, leave them alone.
True.
Leave them alone. Find out his inclinations.
True.
And now there is a big number of parents asking, my son does not want to get married, my daughter does not want to get married, and they are not going here and there also. So you know exactly what is happening. Parents take little more time, but already people like us get so many questions. Doctor, this child of mine is not going to get married. Fine, leave them alone.
Yes. I think very rightly brought out by Dr. Sharda Jain. And that's exactly Parinita. What's important is, I think you stay in touch with the family and reinforce their mindset. And if we can bring about a kind of harmony amongst the rapport relationship between the offspring and the parents, you have done enough good to the entire family. And I must tell you, some of these transgenders are real beautiful people with beautiful minds. They are really caring. Some of them who walk into a hospital, the moment I touch them, I put my hand on their shoulders, they again hold on to you so tight. That warmth and affection, if you close your eyes and experience it, it is just human to human. It only makes you realize how much they really are craving for this kind of a hand.
Love and support, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Moti sir, I told you that when I met first time that transgender, I mean, it was the same experience I felt. Early I was scared, like everybody told, no ma'am, how you will touch her, how we will this. But she always come and hold my hand tightly. Ma'am, I want to live. Yes. I want to, doctor, I want to live. So this is the kind of the compassion we should be, should show some empathy among them. And definitely once, basically because we, Dr. Moti and me, we are treating lot many gay populations, so lot many bisexual. So we are not differentiating them. It is definitely learning. I also have learned this. If once you will treat them with empathy, they are doing wonders in their career. And they are wonderful people, and there is no other words to say. So I think I'm thankful. I'm thankful to all the forum. I'm thankful to DGF. I'm thankful Dr. Sharda Jain ma'am, and special thanks to the Asha Kirna, Dr. Moti sir, and the whole family, whole Asha Kirna family.
So Swami is also here.
Dr. Swami, yeah. I'm thankful to Dr. Swami, Dr. Amrita, and especially the Nalini ma'am,
Yes.
very favorite of, she's a favorite of mine.
But Amrita was great today. She was really
Yeah.
good.
I will definitely share this information with her. She is a beautiful youngster and then an upcoming pediatrician making a mark for herself. In fact, when Ruby said, "Aapko kuch gana bhi padega," then I said, probably I'll get very nervous and I may end up fumbling my presentation also. Then I asked Amrita, then she very gladly accepted.
Very
Sir, but I want you should end your presentation with your song. I know you sing very well. I've heard your song at
I
Mysore.
think maybe
Chaliye, I think we should leave it at this. I think, thank you very much, sir. And we are looking forward for more presentations from you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Right,
you.
sir?
Have a wonderful evening. It was such a joy. Dr. Ruby, continue doing all the good work with all your friends that you're doing. You are such a noble person with so much of desire and zeal inside you. You will carry forward this mantle for years to come. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everybody. And Meena ji,